Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about something controversial as usual. I am gonna discuss why I hate K-pop survival shows. Of course, I'll focus on, Are You Next?, a little more, but take this video as more of a general opinion about 90% of K-pop survival shows. Before starting the video, I remind you that this is a small channel and every kind of support is very appreciated, so consider subscribing and leaving a like. Having said that, let's start with the video. So, this has always been a topic that interested me. I genuinely understand the appeal and the utility of these shows. I am not denying that they can be useful. The core idea of survival shows isn't that bad. They give exposure to trainees that, if not for these productions, would be locked in the basement of their agency. Also, who doesn't find entertaining a lot of talented girls that fight for the chance of grading their wish of becoming a K-pop idol? These shows also give a lot of pre-debut exposure to the new group that will be created. But as we know, not all glitter is gold, and K-pop agencies find a way to spoil these shows, and I'll explain to you why. Of course, this is all alleged, and everything is based on my opinion, so if you disagree, my comments are open. It should not shock anyone, but evil editing is pretty much a thing. K-pop agencies know that public love a common enemy to hate. It makes the show more interesting and gives people something to talk about. To do this, they resort to evil editing. They usually choose one or two contestants and start editing the show in a way that makes them come across as rude, or straight-up assholes. A perfect example of this is Chanel in Are You Next? Look at this TikTok and tell me that this interaction looks natural and it's not edited to make her look like a bitch.
이거 불렀는데 너무 힘들었어.
자, 한 번만 들어주면 안 돼? 한 번만. 그래, 내가 할게, 진짜.
What makes me angry is that most of the time, the victim of this tactic are young girls that will suffer a lot from the shitstorm they'll receive. This point is a very broad one, so I need to split it into many parts. Let's be for real now. Do you think that a K-pop agency, especially big ones like HYBE in the case of Are You Next, would let the public decide the member of a group? Before a group debuts, they already know the image, the vibe they'll have, and the type of music that that group will make. In my opinion, they wouldn't risk debuting idols that don't match the vibe of the group they are going to be part of, just because they were well liked in the show and the public voted for them. They make sure that they'll debut the trainees they always wanted to debut in two ways. Again, we can find a perfect example in Are You Next? Yes, I know you guys are all thinking about the same person. Of course, I am talking about Wonhee. Now, don't get me wrong. She's talented and I am not saying she doesn't deserve to debut, but I always have the impression that HYBE is trying to push her a little too much. She gets a lot of compliments even when, in my opinion, she doesn't deserve them. She gets a lot of screen time too. And it's not just me, every day I read tweets and I watch TikTok of people that feel the same way. Now, there's no way to demonstrate this, and, again, this is all alleged, but every K-pop survival show that I watched or witnessed so far had some sort of scandal about how the voting system was rigged or about how the votes were manipulated. I am not sure if these accusations were ever proven true, but I don't have a hard time believing that it's a thing that might happen for the same reason I explained before. These agencies already know how they want their group to look. This doesn't make sense at all. Look at this clip. You can tell how much pitch correction was used by how robotic her voice sounded in that clip. Do I need to remind these agencies that it's supposed to be a show where trainees show their skills? What's the point of using so much autotune? In theory, they should debut the most talented people, and the public is supposed to vote based on how good they are at singing, dancing, rapping, etc. But, when you edit their voices so much, how can we judge them fairly? It straight up makes the all show meaningless. Also, when you let the public decide which trainees are going to debut on shows like Are You Next, talent is not going to be the only meter of judgment. Of course, an idol has to be likable to be successful, but I feel that sometimes votes are based too much on a trainee's personality or how pretty they are. This is not a problem strictly related to K-pop survival shows but to the whole K-pop industry, but it gets really bad when it comes to K-pop survival shows. In my opinion, no minor should be allowed to participate in shows that put so much pressure on people like these. But, unfortunately, this is unrealistic. But at least I expect to not see literal children participating. This pic shows the ages of every contestant of Are You Next? Look at Ina. Yes, you are not hallucinating, she was born in 2011. To be fair, she was eliminated, but still, why would you let her participate? This is crazy. Put it into perspective, she's 12 and she was in elementary school last year. Let's ignore how problematic it is to make a child participate in a show that is so stressful, but how do you expect people to stand a group with a 12-year-old? Also, let's forget about Ina for a second. Do you see how many participants are born in 2008-2007? It's crazy. Not every survival show leads to the creation of temporary groups, but if I know that that is the case, it's 100% sure that I won't watch it or stand the group. I don't like temporary groups, because what's the point of standing a group if they are going to disband in 2 years? I don't get it. IZ*ONE was very much an exception, but I think they'll never be a temporary group as successful as them. Okay, that's it. What do you think? Do you like K-pop survival shows? Are you watching or are you next? Let me know in the comments. I remind you to subscribe and like the video. Bye bye.